Okay, we are almost ready to get started. We'll just wait for a couple of more viewers to tune in. Looks like it'll be working in just a sec. Oh, there it goes. Good. Waiting for a couple more viewers. Takes a minute for it to kick in when you're going live. Okay, all right, well, it looks like it's going. We've got a couple of viewers. We can go ahead and get started. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to WISE's second live streaming event here in collaboration with Science Odyssey Week. My name is Joelle. I'm the WISE's outreach coordinator, so I get to do all kinds of fun events engaging women and girls in STEM all across Alberta. And this live streaming series, which is called Discovering a Whole New World, is really all about having you, the students, connect with a whole bunch of diversity of mentors from the comforts of your own school. So today the theme is STEM impacting our daily lives. So we're going to learn a little bit more about how STEM impacts our communities every day. If you have any questions, if you're curious, if there's something that you're wondering, please just ask us in the live chat. We always love to answer as many questions as possible. It helps to make it a little bit more interactive and a little bit more fun. So we would love it if you'd ask us some questions. But for now, we can go ahead and get started. And let's start off with a quick introduction. So introduce yourselves, give us your name, your career situation, a little bit about where you're from. And Heidi, let's start with you.
Perfect. Yeah, so hey, everyone. My name is Heidi Cosby. I am a master's student here at the U of A. And I grew up in Innisfell, Alberta. So that's about 2 hours south of where I am right now. It's a small town, about 7,000 people, and it's pretty, it's rural Alberta for sure. It's a bit of a farm town. And then I came to Edmonton at the U of A, and I started my bachelor. I was actually in the Bachelor of Arts program first for about a year, and then I transferred to Bachelor of Science in Civil Environmental Engineering. So I did that. Then I worked for about a year in engineering consulting, and now I'm a grad student and doing my master's in environmental engineering.
Very exciting.
Hey everyone, I'm Sharon. And so I was here initially at the U of A. I did my Bachelor's of Science in biology, and I minored in psychology. And then after that, I spent a year as a special student in the Faculty of Arts. And right now I'm going to be starting my Master's of Public Health at SFU, Simon Fraser University, which is in BC. And I'm going to be specializing in population health there. I've grown up in Edmonton. It's my home, and so yeah, so like growing up and raised here, and I went to school here, and so I'm going to be moving away for school for the first time.
Exciting.
Yeah.
So two people with some pretty different streams of STEM, using it in different ways. So let's just start off with asking some questions, and let's kick it off with the obvious. Obviously, the theme today is the impact of STEM on our daily lives. How do you use STEM on a daily basis? So of course you do use it in your career, but other than that, how do you do that?
So I guess being with an engineering background is kind of just problem solving at all times. So I find myself problem solving outside of my career and just in my daily life. I come up with maybe solutions that my friends who don't have engineering backgrounds would come up with. And it's a very different perspective. So I use it not on purpose, but all the time, basically. And I'm sure everyone finds it very annoying, but yeah, I'm using it all the time, just kind of subconsciously.
You know, I have a lot of friends who are engineers, and I always love it when they just like figure out MacGyver some sort of crazy solution to something, and I think it's just great. That's the awesome part about being an engineer.
Yeah.
How about you, Sharon?
Yeah, I think definitely like what you said, critical thinking and like these problem solving skills that you learn, especially like as a biology major and doing research and like looking at research, that definitely transfers over to like my everyday life, whether it's just I don't know, like understanding maybe like medication that I'm taking better, or just like approaching things that I'm doing every day, and like information that I'm getting and approaching it in like a critical way, especially.
Yeah.
But that's how I feel it really it really like shows up in my everyday life.
Okay, so you talk about medication, you can understand how to maybe research things a little bit better, understand what other disciplines in science are doing. Yeah,
and it helps me be very critical of like other information that I get just in everyday life.
Yeah, I think that's great. So science literacy, which is so important. We have our first live question. Deborah asks, are you involved in any groups outside of work that are STEM related? Wisest, of course. But other than Wisest.
So Wisest and Discovery, which is sort of a small group with the Faculty of Engineering. I've done some stuff with them. So I'm just involved in a lot of sort of STEM volunteering opportunities. And then I also teach English to adults, like newcomers or refugees to Edmonton. So I teach English with them, and so I'm kind of just involved in a couple of volunteer things outside of engineering. So
that's great. And so Discovery is engineering outreach, so a different type of STEM outreach. And they have camps and classes and things like that. Do you help out with those?
I've just kind of done a couple of like side volunteer things with them. So not one of the main teachers, but if they need someone from engineering for a panel or something like that, I've done that a couple times.
Sounds great. And how about you, Sharon?
So like in the past, I've volunteered with the Story before, and that definitely kind of related to what I was learning in school. I've spent time like on research teams, so like helping as an assistant with infants who are participants in the study. So that's always been really fun, like being able to help out with stuff like that. At the same time, throughout like my undergrad, I've helped run a literacy program at a library for like students who are, just kind of need that extra help outside of class. So
great. That sounds wonderful. All right, next question. How does the work that you do, or at least the work you'll be starting to do pretty soon, how does that currently impact the world around you? So what would you say?
So I'm working for my project. I'm working on something where we're trying to clean up some of the oil sands waste that's in northern Alberta. So that has a huge impact, not only financially, but also on the environment, if it's successful, of course. If eventually the oil sands will have to be cleaned up, and if the companies can't do it now, then the taxpayers will do it. So I'm working on a technology that's going to help improve that and maybe make it a little bit faster. So for me, that's a very obvious way to impact society around me and the environment, because it's directly related to environmental engineering. So
absolutely. And so that can not only help clean up the oil sands, it helps everything else around it, right? It helps clean water, it helps animals, wildlife, people, everything.
And it helps with the public image too, which is very important.
Which is always a good thing. So, yes. Great. All right, how about you, Sharon? How does the work that you will be starting very soon, how do you think that will help to impact the world around you?
Even in my undergrad, like I feel like I was doing like mostly coursework. I still felt like the stuff that I did outside of that, like outside of school, kind of had a positive impact on like the people that I worked with. So there was definitely that. But now in graduate school, I'm really hoping to work with women and work on mental health issues. So I'm hoping that through my research and through my thesis, I can potentially come up with different ways and techniques to improve women's mental health during pregnancy and after pregnancy. So that is kind of my goal with my master's degree.
Great. So we have a couple more questions coming in. Here's a question. I guess this would probably be best for Heidi, but maybe you can speak to this too a little bit, Sharon. Okay. Do you have any advice for how a smaller town student can get involved in the STEM community?
When I grew up in Innisfail, I'll be honest, there weren't a lot of people in STEM around me, so I didn't really picture myself in that career because I didn't see anyone else who was like me who's doing that. So I started in a Bachelor of Arts program, and it wasn't until I was already in Edmonton and in a big city and a big university that I thought of myself maybe as an engineer. So for me, I guess it would have been awesome if I had looked into the U of A. They have the summer research program with Wisest, anything like that, just to kind of get my foot in the door and figure out all the opportunities that were available, because I really wasn't aware of it growing up in a small town. So sometimes if that's your situation, you have to do a little bit of research on your own and kind of figure out what is available for you. And there are opportunities. It might be a little bit more difficult to find them, but it's definitely worthwhile if you did. I really wish I had done that when I was younger.
Mm-hmm. And so the Wisest Summer Research Program is something that you can apply for after grade 11. It's a 6-week paid opportunity where you get to come usually onto the University of Alberta campus. If you're from out of town, you'd stay in residence, and then you just get a paid research opportunity in a lab, or sometimes off campus in an industry or something like that. It's really, really great. How about you, Sharon? I know you grew up in Edmonton, but do you have any ideas for how a student maybe in a smaller town could get involved in the STEM community? Maybe some perspective from your high school or undergrad experience?
Yeah, so just adding on to that, I feel like, especially in this day and age when you do really have the internet at your fingertips, like it's really easy to just kind of go online and go look up what is out there, like what opportunities are out there for you. Mm-hmm. If it's something that like your school offers, maybe some local program might offer. But you know, if you are in like a rural community and it is difficult to find those opportunities, there's lots of stuff online. Like I believe Discovery offers like an online coding course. Oh. Yeah, that's available for literally anyone, and it's kind of open to students of all ages to take. Oh, so just things like that, I feel, can definitely help.
So kind of coming on, dovetailing from that, another online question. If you have any more, please ask. We love answering them. When you were in high school, so kind of speaking about some of those experiences, did you do anything, any sort of extracurriculars that maybe helped give you some direction into a STEM field?
So I didn't. I worked when I was in high school, and I was in dance and piano and a bunch of stuff. And I didn't really think about STEM for myself, so I really didn't pursue it outside of high school, other than like taking calculus and chemistry and all of that. It wasn't until I moved to the U of A. So I really didn't do anything extra in high school. I probably could have, but for me, it wasn't really on my radar, so I didn't look into it.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that was sort of the situation for me as well. Okay. So I was involved in other extracurriculars, but like nothing STEM related, even though I knew that I wanted to go into STEM. Like I was very much like interested in biology and chemistry and physics, and I took all like my science courses, and I took calculus, but I didn't really do much outside of that to prepare myself for going into like the STEM field.
Do you wish you had? Do you think it would have made your undergraduate experience a little bit easier, or giving a better of a foundation, something like that?
Yeah, for sure. I think I probably would not have gone into arts first. I would have gone straight into engineering and saved myself a year.
Yeah.
I think that would have been awesome if I had done that.
Cool. All right. Well, we can move on and ask another question. We have lots here. Why do you think it's important for everyone to have STEM in our daily lives?
Something kind of very obvious. There's always different articles in the news about how burnt toast is going to kill you and all these different things, and a lot of them are kind of crazy and out there. And I think if you have a bit of a science background and sort of that practical understanding of things, you can take everything with a bit of a grain of salt. And like science literacy, because there's a lot of information that comes at you, and a lot of it is inaccurate or just very poor science. And so I think just having STEM for everybody, they kind of filter that information, because there's a lot of it that comes at you and some people don't know what it is about, right? So if you can kind of just filter that, and it also helps, like practically speaking, in your daily life, you find yourself problem solving a lot more than you intend to. So I think that's really great.
Yeah, so like everything that you said, I definitely think it encourages like a lot of creativity as well, like in our daily lives. Like you do have to be a creative a lot of the time working in a STEM field, especially when you're doing research and you're working through problems. So I feel a lot of that can be applied to our daily lives. And so obviously like outside of our career and outside of school, a lot of stuff around us today like involves STEM and is based off of STEM. And so back when I had a Tumblr, I would use coding to like customize like the layout of what it looked like. So
which is great.
Like it's everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're absolutely right, but I think it's all around us in a bunch of different, the computers, the live streaming, right, that uses STEM to even have us talking to you right now, which is great. Another question. What were your favorite STEM-related courses in university? What were your favorite courses that you took as undergrads?
Can I go first?
Yeah, sure.
So I loved all my pharmacology courses a lot. I don't know what it was about them, but I loved learning about different medications and how they worked in the body for some reason, and like how the body metabolizes them, and all of that. And I really loved all my human physiology courses. So.
That sounds fun.
Yeah, interesting. Mine's not going to sound very cool. I really liked all my math courses, actually, and most engineers just hate their calculus courses so much, but I actually loved all my math courses the most. And I took a lot of more focused environmental courses when I was in my last year, so air quality, like water treatment, stuff like that, and I really like those as well.
I loved math courses. So yeah, I feel you. I think they're pretty cool and fun, and they help to explain the world in a different way. Right? Yeah. That sounds great. Okay. Let's go through to another question. What inspired you to work in STEM? So what was it that kind of sparked that change, right? I mean, you said you came in as a Bachelor of Arts, so some switch must have flipped or something, right, to get to go into engineering.
Yeah, so I was in Bachelor of Arts, and it wasn't, Bachelor of Arts is an amazing program, but for me, it just wasn't quite challenging enough, and it wasn't for my skill set. So I'm very good at math and science, and I found myself loving my calculus courses, even though I was in Bachelor of Arts, and I just knew that I could do something a little bit more challenging for me and a little bit more playing to my skill set. So yeah, I switched to engineering just honestly on a whim. I thought I would love it, but I didn't know that much about what I was getting myself into. And so it was just kind of that, what fit best for me. And I wanted to do something maybe that nobody else had done. So doing a lot of research in engineering and making new technologies. And that really appealed to me. And I didn't realize that until I was already in school. So yeah.
So it works sometimes. Yeah. How about you, Sharon? What inspired you to start working in STEM?
For me, it was kind of different. I loved science from the start, and I knew it was something that I wanted to work in. Like I wasn't particularly sure exactly what I would do with it, but I knew I wanted to be in the sciences. And as I kind of went through school, I found myself really loving all of my biology courses a lot more. Like I did well in chemistry and physics, and I love them too, but I did enjoy biology a lot more. And so that's why I chose biology as my major. And I thought there was just a bunch of different learning experiences all throughout school that really pushed me in that direction.
So would you say it started as a kid, or maybe in high school, junior high?
I would say junior high.
Yeah, okay.
And then there was a point where I was actually hospitalized for something kind of major in my life. And so that, it wasn't a very, very quick change, but it did kind of make me more interested towards biology and towards technology and how we kind of use those two to treat and heal and how they come together. So yeah,
that makes sense. Great. Okay, well, those are wonderful answers. Let's move on. What are the opportunities that you have to get involved in STEM in your community? So we already talked a little bit about some of your volunteering, things like that. So maybe whether as undergrads or now or outside of the university community, how do you think you can get involved in STEM? What opportunities do you think you might have?
Is this for high school students and junior high students, or more for us?
Well, a little bit of both.
Okay.
A little bit of both.
Well, I know about WISES, and I know that we offer so many different kinds of opportunities, both for undergrads and graduate students who want to help out, and for high school and junior high students who want to get involved. But I would say definitely look into what your school offers. I know the TELUS World of Science definitely offers some programs, and so for people who are maybe further along their career, if they want to volunteer their time in that way and get involved in that way, or for students who are just kind of starting out and wanting to learn more, they could get involved as participants. And so just definitely look into programs in the community and stuff.
Oh, that sounds great.
Yeah, like you said, WISES or Discovery or TELUS World of Science. And then once you're kind of actually in a STEM program, there's so many clubs and stuff that you can join. I know there's chemistry clubs, and Faculty of Engineering has many, many clubs that I don't even know about all of them. So there are a lot of opportunities when you're in high school and junior high, and then also once you actually get into a program. there's a lot of clubs and everything like that you can join.
I would say even like you can always reach out to different professors like once you are in your undergrad. I would definitely encourage that. I didn't at first, but once I did, it was probably the best thing that I've ever done. Oftentimes, like they're more than willing to help you out. Sometimes they're just looking for volunteers, or sometimes they'll offer even paid positions as an undergrad. So that's definitely a way to get involved in STEM.
Yeah, we have a lot of summer students that come every year that work in our lab. Right now we have 3, which is a lot. Yeah, we do that. We have that every year. It's really nice.
And talking about getting to know your professors or TAs or anything like that, I always, when I was a graduate student and when I was a TA, that was the number one piece of advice I would always give to students, is that the number one thing you can do, I think, is go and get to know your professors, because not only will it help you in the courses that you're taking with them, but it will also actually help give you other opportunities for research or jobs or even volunteering, anything like that. All right, so what type of exposure, if any, did you have to STEM as a child? Give you a little bit of, we already talked about this a little bit, but yeah.
So for me, my mom's actually a pharmacist, so she's in a STEM profession. But outside of that, my family wasn't super involved in STEM, and there weren't a lot of my friends or other people in ISFL. So I didn't have a ton of exposure, which definitely influenced my decision to go into arts first. But I'm sure that's kind of changing now with the times. But I didn't have a lot of it, but I'm still in STEM. So
yeah. But you know, mom being a pharmacist just kind of gives you a different mindset.
It does,
other people might have. Yeah. How about you?
Yeah. No, I had like very little exposure to what STEM was outside of school, and it was very much just limited to like what I did in school and like the field trips that we would go on, the little science experiments we would do. So that was basically it. Yeah.
Okay. And I do think that's changing significantly, but it's interesting to hear how people, kind of where people came from and those sorts of things. Yeah. Okay. Well, how about if you could give one piece of advice to students who are maybe looking to go into STEM, whether in university or as a career in general, do you have any advice for them, or maybe a piece of advice you would give yourself if you could go back a few years?
Yeah, so I would say just kind of go for it. Maybe you don't see a lot of people who look like you in engineering or in STEM in general, but definitely don't let that stop you. And I'm sure you're very capable. So just play your strengths, and even if maybe you're not the most confident going in, you'll build that confidence as you get into the program and you learn more. And there's a lot of people who don't start out confident and they do amazing. So definitely just go after whatever you want and don't let anything scare you.
Good advice. I like that. Definitely. How about you?
I would say definitely like take advantage of all opportunities that come your way. Like oftentimes like there are so many things out there that you can do and like get involved with, and just kind of like going out of your way to do that and to put yourself out there and really get involved in different things, like find out what you like and what you don't like. Definitely talk to professors, like join student groups and clubs. Friends can be like wonderful resources. Like they can be very helpful, especially when you are kind of like finding your way through a career. So yeah, I would say definitely like put yourself out there and get all the experiences that you can.
Yeah, and to add on to that, I would definitely say make sure to not limit yourself in terms of the courses that you take too, because you never know which one might really pique your interest. I remember I took a course my first year of university on forest pathology, which is tree diseases, and I loved it so much that became a big part of my path and for graduate school as well, and it just completely changed it. And if I had never taken that random course that I thought maybe sounded a little bit interesting, never would have happened. So yeah, I definitely try to be broad and explore, and I think that's a lot of what university is all about. So a couple other questions that we have, and if you have any other questions in the live chat, we would really, really love to hear any other ones that you have. Always love answering questions from other students and other people tuning in. Why do you think STEM education earlier on, so elementary, secondary, junior high, those types of things, why do you think that's important, and how do you think if you had different experiences, how do you think that would have helped you in your career now?
I I think what you like learn and what you're exposed to as a child, especially younger on, really kind of shapes your worldview and like what you want to do later on, you know, even if it is just for a career or like for school. And I think having that early exposure to STEM, like outside of school especially, but like even in school, I think it's important just so like students and kids like know that it's there and it exists and that it's something that they can do and they're capable of, and you know, it's just another option for them. And
that makes sense. Yeah, I think it gives you a really good background and a little bit of information about what you can go into, and then you kind of realize there's so many opportunities for you in STEM. So if you didn't have that background, you probably wouldn't know that there are that many opportunities. And then also, sometimes you need prerequisites to get into certain courses. So you definitely do need some sort of science and stuff. But
Okay, we have another question in on the chat. Can you describe a day in the life of a STEM student? Excuse me. Thank you. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Can you describe a day in the life of a STEM student at university? So maybe give a typical day in your life, maybe as an undergraduate versus a graduate student, and how that may differ. Sure. Go ahead.
So throughout most of my undergrad, I was taking 5 courses a term. So I would wake up at around 7 and get ready for school. My first class would usually be at around 9. And so I would go to classes. I prefer my classes to be back to back and then have like a single break in between. And so I would do that, and then I would go to the rest of my classes. I would finish school at around 2 or 3 most days. If I had a lab, I would go to that, and labs would be from 2 to 5. So they're typically 3 hours long for most courses. And and if I was volunteering that day, that shift would usually start at around 3, and so I would volunteer for an hour, you know, and after that it would just be eating and studying, and then maybe if I have time, I hit the gym, and
Okay. And so I would say that sounds pretty typical for an undergraduate. How about you? How is it different now as a graduate student?
So as a grad student, I have way more flexibility. I took classes for 8 months, but now I'm just doing research, so I have not more free time necessarily, but I can be more flexible with my schedule. If I don't want to roll until 10, I really don't have to. If I'm doing an experiment, I do have to be here early, and my experiments take all day. Not everyone's is like that, but so if I was doing an experiment, it would take me all day, and then I would go home and either do some writing or go for a run or something like that. And if I wasn't doing an experiment, my day's even more flexible, and I do some writing and some other maybe volunteering, and then back to writing. So being a grad student, you definitely have a very flexible schedule, and it's kind of up to you whether or not you finish everything or not. So, I definitely prefer it over undergrad because I don't have to go to classes anymore. But so it's a little different.
Okay, that sounds good. And I know for there is a lot more rigidity, especially in research-based master's degrees where you only take courses for a short time, and then all of a sudden, sometimes some people struggle with that. They have, you know, the whole world, and they have all the time, and some, and it depends on the lab that you're in too. Some PIs like a little bit more rigidity in their grad student schedules, and some of them are just like, I'm doing whatever you want. A little bit of both. We have another question. Who is your biggest role model in STEM? So is there anybody that you really look up to, whether that's a famous public figure or somebody that you work with? Do you have a role model?
I'm gonna have to think about this.
Okay,
sure. So I have an amazing mentor in the environmental engineering program. She's actually the associate dean of outreach in engineering now. So I had her as a professor when I was an undergrad, and she's an incredible teacher. And then as a grad student, she's been an amazing mentor and definitely a leader in STEM and also in engineering. But mostly she's focusing on outreach now and diversity in engineering, and it's incredible, and she's an amazing role model and an incredible mentor as well. So I'm very lucky.
Oh, that sounds great. Sounds like a wonderful person to be working with. Helping you some guidance in your career. That sounds great. Have you got anybody?
I wouldn't say like I have a single role model who I look up to. Like it's just been kind of like everyone that I've worked with and everyone who's like ever supervised me, like they've all kind of played an important role in like shaping what I'm doing today and helping me learn. So yeah, I feel like it's been like a lot of people over the past 4 or 5 years.
Did you have a teacher in high school that really, for either of you, that really stood out as maybe somebody who helped guide you a lot?
I had my biology teacher in grade 12 was, she was just amazing. Her name is Mrs. Dollywell, and she was like, she was just amazing. And like she was a great teacher, but she also was very encouraging and inspiring. Which really motivated me to like keep studying further and to like keep working hard.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. It's always helpful. I know it seems like a lot of people have great teachers, and that's really what inspires them. How about you, Heidi? Did you have anybody in high school that really helped to motivate you or mentor you in any way?
I had some amazing teachers in high school, but not so much for STEM. But I mean, my teachers were incredible regardless of whether or not they were my STEM teachers or not. So I had good teachers, but I wouldn't say I had a mentor in high school necessarily.
Yeah. I always think back to my AP Chem teacher. So that actually helped. She really helped me love chemistry, which is always really fun. Okay, great. Well, we have just a couple minutes left, but we can, I just kind of chat a little bit more about, maybe you can talk a little bit about your future directions and your future careers. Where do you see yourself going within the next few years, and how do you think your future impact, what do you think your future impact on STEM will be as you continue to grow?
So for me, after I finish my master's, I'll start my PhD, and then my plan for right now is probably to be a research engineer. I might be a prof one day, but that's not my plan going into it, but who knows. And I really love helping recruit women to engineering. STEM, but engineering particularly, just because that's my background. So I really hope to help diversify engineering and STEM in general, and just encourage young women and everybody else to really pursue it.
Oh, that sounds great. And how about you?
So after I finish my master's, I'm not really sure what I'm going to do yet. Like it's kind of out there. So I'm thinking I might work for a bit, and then if I want to, I may get a PhD after. I'm just not sure. But I do want to focus like my work and my later research on women's mental health. So I definitely know I kind of want to go in that direction.
Oh, that sounds great. Wonderful. All right. Well, any other last words of wisdom, pieces of advice that you might want to say to any of the people watching, any of the students? Go ahead if you want. I need a minute.
I would just say keep working hard, and if you really know you want something, and if STEM is something you really want to do, I would definitely say go for it, and to kind of seek out opportunities and to make that path for yourself.
Yeah, definitely. If you want something, go after it, and you probably will change your mind at some point, and that's totally fine. You don't have to have everything figured out in high school. Even now, I change my mind all the time. So, and I think a lot of people are like that, not just me. So,
absolutely.
You don't have to have everything figured out, and just sort of enjoy it, because you don't know what you're going to become. So, it's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the exciting part in some ways, right? Well, I just wanted to say thank you both so much for coming in today. We will be having our second session of the day starting at 12:15, so in about 10 minutes we'll be doing that. And then we have one more tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll be talking all about all different types of careers that people can have in STEM, and it'll be a much larger panel with a lot of people and a lot of different perspectives on that. So we hope you can join us for both of those. If not, thanks for tuning in, and we hope to see you again soon. Thanks.